Hi, this is Chris Richards, the Eclectic Radical, and welcome tonight to Uncivil Disobedience. Kennedy's having some personal issues and is taking the night off. I want to apologize for Kennedy, and Kennedy will be back next week. And tonight, my guest is Shubham Banerjee, the editor-in-chief of the Internationalist Magazine.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure to have you. I've been reading the magazine today at work. The new one is about Cuba, I know. It's good stuff. I know one of the writers a little. I had him on my show, Dr. Asada Bear.
Okay.
So I was. It was good to see a familiar name in the table of contents. I enjoyed that. So tell us about the magazine, please.
Actually, Chris, the International is a news or media platform with a left ideological inclination and to promote the communist movement around the world. And we started to plan to publish this global political magazine with Marxist-Leninist ideological inclination almost 1 year ago. During last July and August 2020, we planned from India to publish this kind of global political magazine. And our first edition was published in October 2020. And thus, you can see that the edition that has been published yesterday on the 15th day of August, that was the 11th issue that has been published on August 2021. So since October 2020, we are successfully publishing this monthly magazine on the 15th day of each month with different themes. And for the last edition, if you have subscribed and if you are watching the magazine, you can see that the theme of our last edition was Solidarity, Cuba. So as you know that after the demise of Soviet Union, the magazines like Soviet Weekly, the International Marxist Review, these are not published today. That's why we tried to, in the memory of the magazines like Soviet Weekly and International Marxist Review, we started to plan about this magazine. And you can see, if you go through the website and if you go through the our team section, then you can see that there are almost 35 editorial board members representing more than 30 countries. And not only that, they are the well-established youth communist leadership of 30 countries. So this is a global political magazine in a true sense. We publish articles, we publish news from each continent of the world. It may be Latin America, it may be Europe, it may be Northern America, it may be Asia, or even it may be Africa. So this is a global political magazine in true sense with Marxist-Leninist ideological inclination. And we have already successfully published our 11th issue just yesterday.
Yes, I've been reading it today. I'm a subscriber.
Thank you so much for subscribing it. We need the support of all the Marxist-Leninist individuals and the Communist Party and the Socialist Party workers, because as you can understand that we do not depend on, we do not take any corporate funding or any corporate donation. So we only depend on the subscription of our readers, only on the subscription of the Marxist-Leninist individuals and activists. So thank you for subscribing it.
Oh, and thank you for publishing such a great magazine. I have to say that from what I've seen of the new issue so far, I'm enjoying it. I read the first article on Cuba. I read a little bit of Dr. Asada Bear's article on economic equality in Cuba, which is pretty good. I'm a big fan of Dr. Bear's. I've spoken to him on another stream. It was a great conversation. I really liked the interview with Kathy Rojas, who's running for mayor in New York City.
Yes.
On the Party of Socialism and Liberation, folks.
Actually, Comrade, I just sorry to interrupt you, but Comrade Sunil Freeman, who was the vice presidential candidate also from the Party of Socialism and Liberation in this last US presidential election, he also writes for us regularly, Comrade Sunil Freeman.
That's great to know. I know that Kathy. I would like to interview with Kathy Rojas. I think she's great. I don't think it's easy, but I think it's almost a situation where somebody like that could almost win in New York City if enough people were angry enough about Eric Adams. But I don't know. It's exciting, and I like Kathy Rojas. And Cuba, the Cuba stuff is, of course, very timely right now.
Yes, in our last editorial meeting, we decided to publish one edition, publish this specific August edition, solely dedicating the edition to the people of Cuba. That's why this edition and the theme of the edition, you can see that it is Solidarity Cuba.
No, and that's important right now. I was very interested to see some of the investigation into some of the fake accounts tweeting about the SOS Cuba hashtag. I have a friendly acquaintance in Vietnam who started tweeting SOS USA around the same time, and I tried to help with that.
Okay, nice to hear that.
But yeah, I found the comments about some of the internal criticism of the state from the left interesting. That was in the. Come on. There we go. There it was.
Are you trying to open any specific page?
I'm trying to, yeah, but it's, there we go. It's page, here we go. Come on. Page 13 and 14, and then on 15 too. It's talking about criticism of the government from so-called critical communists in Cuba.
Is it written by Comrade Arnold August from Canada?
That is correct.
Yes. Comrade Arnold has published so many books on Cuba in recent past, and he is a writer who has already published many books, many articles, and many critiques on Cuba, and also on the impact of digital media and the online media, everything.
I know he clearly knows his subject. I was very impressed by the article.
Mm-hmm.
I found some of the topics in the article very interesting, and I recommend that everybody else who can check it out and read it, because it's good.
Thank you so much.
So, what's your area of interest personally? What do you follow? What do you think about and write about?
Actually, personally, I am a science researcher. I am presently a senior research fellow at the University of Calcutta. My MSc subject was biochemistry and my MTech subject was bioinformatics. So basically, I am a science researcher and who has completed his research till now on the topic of individual disease susceptibility. Okay, and I have some publications on SARS-CoV-2 also, on the genetic analysis of the SARS-CoV-2 virus and its mutation and the structural alteration depending on the mutation. So this is my educational subject and my theme on which I research. But
So,
beside that, I think you may be aware that I am also the national president of All India Students Federation and the National Council member of the Communist Party of India. So I am a communist activist since last 14-15 years, since the age of 16. Since the age of 16, I am a communist activist for last 14-15 years. And as being a Marxist-Leninist individual and a communist activist, we had some of our young communist activists from India. We had this dream to start publishing a communist magazine, which will be global and which will dedicate to highlight the activities and movements and the theories of the communist ideology and the Marxism-Leninism. So that's why we are publishing this magazine, and I am seriously involved as a chief editor of this magazine. And this is our dream. This is our dream. This is also my dream that someday this magazine, The International, will be in the hand of each and every communist and each and every Marxist-Leninist of the world.
and plenty of people who aren't yet, but who want to know more about what people are talking about. We could get a few new people reading and joining up. That might help. And this is good. This is good stuff. It's not boring. A lot of communist writing has a tendency to be jargon heavy and a little boring, and that can scare new people away. This is good stuff.
You can see that there are the news section also. In our each edition, there are some articles and also there are some news. There are some scientific analysis in some editions. There are images, paintings, drawings, everything is there. The latest news are also updated in our magazine.
No, and that's good. It's too many people get their news from some corporation right now.
Yes.
And here in the United States, 4 corporations own all the TV networks. So people need something else, something that's not coming from those corporations. Oh, so this episode is about Cuba. I mean, this issue is about Cuba. The last issue was about the pink tide in Latin America in general.
Yes, the red resurgence in Latin America.
Yes. And that was good to see. I was following the election in Peru a little bit, but it was good to see somebody else writing about it. You feel less alone that way. It was good. It was good to see some of the information about Colombia that I hadn't had. So that was good too.
The writer who wrote on the issue of Colombia, he is good friend of me, and he is good friend of some of our editorial board members, and he actually lived in Colombia for past 2-3 years. He is actually from Britain. He is actually from London, but he was staying in Colombia for last 2-3 years. So it was a small report on Colombia, but it was very good.
It was very good, and it taught me some things that I didn't know before, which is what's important. And that's really what I'm looking for when I read, when I'm looking for something about the news, is to know something that I didn't know before.
Mm.
Let's see. My internet is slow lately. I don't know why. But yeah, it was interesting. I learned from the magazine that a lot of the tweeting about SOS Cuba actually started in Spain, which I hadn't known at all. So that was interesting. And that some right-wing political party in Argentina was running a troll farm to help spread propaganda.
Yes. It's true.
It's just, and it just goes to show why communism needs to be international, because all these imperialists are working together.
Absolutely. That's why we should be united too, and we should be very much serious on the medias, on promoting the true news. While they will try to promoting and propagating the fake news and the fake propaganda, we should be united, and we should be very much serious in publishing the true news and propagating the actual information to the world. That's why it is very much important to continue publishing such international political magazine and this kind of left media platforms.
No, and I agree completely. And this is where I remind people that if you subscribe to the show on YouTube at Eclectic Radical, then please also consider checking out Eclectic Radical on Patreon and subscribing. Keeping me on the air will give me a chance to keep people like Shivam and his colleagues on the air with me, so that we can get their voices out there. So thank you.
Thank you so much, comrade.
No, it's my pleasure. I think it's really good stuff. For people who don't know anything about Cuba, there's a timeline right in the beginning, which shows when the United States colonized Cuba after the Spanish-American War, when the United States said they pulled out but kept coming back, and when the communists actually took over and when that actually stopped. Because it's important to understand that before Castro took over, the United States never really left Cuba completely.
Right.
And they're one of the only two countries in the world, the other being North Korea, which has managed to survive in the face of almost complete isolation inflicted on them by the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been leaders of internationalism. They've sent doctors all over the world. They've helped other countries try to fight for their freedom.
If you go through our past editions, you can find that we have published some articles on the Juche idea, the ideology of the modified ideology of North Korea, which they call the Juche ideology. So we have published Dr. Dermot Hudson. He is a well-known professor in this field, and he is also the president, the chairman of the North Korean and Britain Friendship Association. So he is working, and he is a specialist on the Juche ideology and the governance of North Korea and history of North Korea. So he regularly writes for us, and we have already successfully published many articles on the governance of North Korea, their implementation of Marxism-Leninism in their own way, and on their Juche ideology. We have already published some articles on that.
And that's very interesting. I admit I don't know. I know less about North Korea than I do about almost any place else in the world. I think that's probably fairly common in America.
Yes, so you can go through those articles and you will be aware about the details of North Korea and the Juche ideology.
I'm going to have to do that, and I encourage other people to do so as well. Again, you can check it out and subscribe at internationalmags.com. That's with a Z /magazine. I'm a subscriber. I enjoy it. I think that anybody who can subscribe should. I think it helps support the cause, and it helps keep real news out there. And we need real news right now. So I think it's important to support publications like this one, if you can. Obviously, I'm not asking anyone to go out and spend their last dollar, but if you can support, please do. Shivam, do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share before we close out?
I will also like to request all the viewers and who are watching me and you for the last 20-22 minutes that we only, again I am repeating that the members and the editorial board members of the team international only depends on the subscription of our left readers around the world, and we do not take any corporate funding, and we want to be strong enough to compete against the other capitalist and imperialist media houses, because just a few minutes ago Comrade Chris told that these kind of corporate media houses, they deliberately try to propagate the fake news, and they want to show the fake thing to the world. They do not want to show the real thing, the reality of the world. They do not want to show it to the world. So that's why it is important to publish and strengthen a real communist magazine and a real communist media platform. So the International is a communist media platform, and we have a blog section also where we regularly publish article, and there is the monthly magazine section where we publish the monthly magazine on the 15th day of each month. So it is very important to strengthen this kind of project to counter those fake media houses who deliberately propagate the fake news about imperialism and capitalism. So this is the counter of those kind of media houses. So it will be my request as the chief editor of the International to everyone hearing me and Chris for the past 20-25 minutes that we need your support. So please subscribe to our magazine. Please read the articles which has been published in the magazine. Go through the magazine and please give us your valuable feedback. Your feedback is very much important. Thank you.
Thank you, Shivam. I really appreciate that. And I have a few thoughts myself. And the biggest is about propaganda and fake news. There's a lot of it out there. I woke up to them trying to tell me exactly what I should think about what's happening in Afghanistan, and I didn't like it. I like to be able to get all the information I can and form my own opinions. I like reading the opinions of smart people who are looking at things from a more working class perspective and not the perspective of the boss or the landlord. And I think that we all need to remember that the landlords own the news. If you want to think of the richest people in the world who own almost everything as anything, the best thing is landlords. The landlords own the news. The commercials are how everybody else pays rent for the news. It's all a clever game to manufacture your opinions so that you will believe something in the range that your government wants you to believe because it benefits the people in power. Not just the people in power in the government, but also the people, the landlords running all those corporations. And if you've absorbed anything from this, it's that for the past, almost 27 minutes now, it's that we need real news. I'm not a journalist. I try to bring interesting people and interesting points of view for people to talk to, but I'm not a journalist. I'm glad there are people out there who are really bringing the news and not just criticizing the fake news the way I am. I want to thank everybody who joined us tonight. I want to thank Shivam for joining us from India. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chris.
It's really my
pleasure talking to you. It was really good talking to you. Thank you so much.
It was really good talking to you. Thank you. And folks, I hope you all have a great night. Follow me on Twitter at The Eclectic Radical. Check out the magazine. Again, internationalmags.com/magazine. Check me out on Patreon and YouTube if you like this show. And have a great night, folks. We'll tweet at you.